Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network. I'm here in Standing Rock in North Dakota, the site of the fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline. This is Derrick Broze with Activist Post and the Conscious Resistance Network.
We're placing you under arrest. The city of Houston does not welcome you here at all.
Please don't run over me. Please don't run over me.
We got a war criminal right here.
Derrick Broze, we're at Anarchapulco 2018. This is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance and Activist Post. I'm here in Houston, Texas.
What the fuck?
What's the reasoning?
We've been fighting a long time, and we have all lost so very much, so many loved ones gone. But you are not alone. There are pockets of resistance all around the planet. We are at the brink. Above all, stay alive. Above all, stay alive. You have no idea. You have no idea. How important you are. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
All right. Welcome to the Conscious Resistance Network. My name is Derrick Broze, and today we are going to be catching up briefly. Real quick video here. I just want to, it's not even honestly worth my time probably, but we're going to go ahead and do it because, well, it's important to fact check these people. As you notice by the title of the video, fact checking the fact checkers is the CoviPass fake news. We're going to be exploring how I've been fact checked once again, like many other independent media personalities, content creators, journalists. I'm sure you've heard by now and seen by now that many of us are continuously being fact checked, and our work is being essentially labeled false just because it doesn't fit within the current paradigm. And often these fact checkers that we're going to go over today, they are using semantics and sometimes just outright fabrications, like I'm going to show you today in my case, to malign people's work and to make it look like we are reporting false information and fake news. So we're going to get into all that. Before we do, I want to remind you guys to bookmark my website, which is, as you guys will remember, theconsciousresistance.com, the home for all of my content, my website, my documentaries, which you can watch for free, the books, which you can watch for free, read for free, download for free. You can also follow us on Float, follow us on Minds, follow us on Hive. I know I say this every video, guys, but please do follow these other platforms because it's only a matter of time until I am deleted from your Facebook feed, your YouTube feed. But I'm consistently posting on Minds, posting on Hive, sharing to my Telegram channel. My library and BitChute channels are backed up automatically. So all of my work is still there, and my articles get posted on the website as well. So this is where you want to bookmark. Hit Control D. For those who don't know, hit Control D. But let's go right into this story. Yesterday, I posted this on both my personal channel and the Conscious Resistance on Facebook. As you can see, it is a link from the World Economic Forum, which is greatly involved in Event 201 and the Great Reset, which I recently did a video on. Thanks for everybody for sharing that. And I've also written an article about the World Economic Forum and who they are. But all I posted was this link, literally straight from weforum.org, from their own website, titled, "Could this COVID-19 health passport be the future of travel and events?" And all I wrote was, from the World Economic Forum, the people promoting the Great Reset, and partner in the Event 201 exercise. And this is a quote from their article. It's not even a quote. It's just like a list that they put in the beginning of what it was about. So it's literally from their own piece here. Rising COVID-19 infection rates pose a threat to global tourism. A new app acts as a health passport for travelers who are virus-free. Using blockchain technology, it provides an encrypted record of test results. Its creators say it could allow healthy travelers to avoid quarantine. The app could also allow sports and entertainment venues to reopen safely, as well as the global conference and exhibition industry. And as you can clearly see right here on the front of that post, false information. This post repeats information about COVID-19 that independent fact checkers say is false. And you can click see why, which we're going to in just a second. But we're also going to actually, look at the link. Let's actually, show the link and see what it's actually about before we check out what the fact checkers are saying. And I want to show you guys this too. This is probably the second or third one I've got through Facebook. First, you find this. It says false information found in your post. Facebook found your post repeats information about COVID-19 that multiple fact checkers say is false. To stop the spread of this, we've added a notice to your post. And then it goes into here, to the false rating from Lead Stories saying, quote, "There was no prediction tied to the current outbreak centered in China." We're going to get into that in just a second because it totally talks about something that has nothing to do with what I posted or what this article is about. So here's the actual link. Again, World Economic Forum website. Could this COVID-19 health passport be the future of travel? And if you've followed my videos, you've heard me talk about this or write about this, contact tracing apps, immunity passports. That's basically what this is about. I mean, it's literally what they're talking about and how this could change travel. And they think it's a great thing. And it's another part of the COVID-19 action platform put together by the World Economic Forum, also what is known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution. That's literally all it's about. And that's what I put in here. I put a quote from it. My guess is that the word Event 201 is now flagged by the algorithm, and anybody who posts about that will automatically get some sort of fact check like this. Because when you go here to the actual fact check from Lead Stories and you click on it, let's open up these trashy websites, which I've dealt with before when I was writing at The Mind Unleashed. These people mainly are from CNN. Fake news. High-level exercise conducted 3 months ago did not show that coronavirus pandemic could kill 65 million people. This is way back in January. Whenever people like The Mind Unleashed and other websites first started reporting on Event 201, way back in late January, we were getting flagged for fake news. And they even took down a really viral story from my buddy John Vibes that was on The Mind Unleashed about this. But this has nothing to do with the CoviPass. This has nothing to do with what the hell I talked about. This literally has anything to do with this. This is totally focused on whether or not Event 201, was accurate, or just all the, again, semantic arguments about it. And who's the guy? Ryan Cooper, staff writer and fact checker for Lead Stories, is the former director of programming at CNN International. You can look and learn more about him. So, but that's what's going on. So now some people who come across this post on my page, or let's say the people who try to share it, their friends are going to see this false information rating. Their friends might be discouraged from sharing it or even looking at the information, even though this false information rating is totally unrelated to what I'm talking about. And this, like I said, this is not the first time it's happened. I had another story. I did a video from like 2015 or 16. That was me talking about another reporter's video, Cheryl Atkinson of Full Measure Media. She did a report about Dr. Andrew Zimmerman, former CDC scientist, who has come out and filed an affidavit, sworn affidavit in his own words, saying that the CDC is using his words to lie, and that in some of his studies, as we've known from other researchers, that a small subset of children did have autism-like reactions. And that got rated fake news, but it was exactly the same thing here. The fake news rating had nothing to do with what I was actually saying, and it didn't even actually mention Dr. Andrew Zimmerman in any way. So it's literally the same method 2 times that they've used against me. False information in my post, but then the fact check is totally unrelated. Thankfully, though, most of the people on the Conscious Resistance Facebook page are smart enough to just laugh at it and see that the, as somebody says right here, I like how the false part of this article is about the epidemic being planned. They don't deny there could be a health passport. Literally, it has nothing to do with that. Telling me fact checkers have found it false it's not telling me why. And yeah, so this is just what we're dealing with. And I just want to remind those of you who might not have seen my past reports that I've actually been covering this for a while. As somebody in the independent media who is facing the censorship and just the attacks from the fact checkers. I most recently wrote this article for The Last American Vagabond. This is why you can't trust the fact checkers, where I go deeper into my experience writing for The Mind Unleashed and seeing how these people work and seeing how they will just keep pressuring you to delete your stuff, until you're done, like until you're just off the internet. They won't accept anything other than saying we lied, we were wrong. And then if you don't do that, they won't take off your false rating. They won't take away, your little fact check. So you can go into this and look at that, but let's go even back a little further. I wrote, this is the purge of the independent media, a coordinated attack by the military industrial complex. This was October 2018. This is a week after the purge happened, what we were calling the purge, where 500 pages and 200 accounts were deleted off Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And again, just today, there were QAnon, in the last few days, there were QAnon accounts, militia accounts, left-wing anarchist accounts like It's Going Down and Crime Think were all deleted off Facebook, as they're announcing that they're going to start going after people who are promoting violence or celebrating violence. So what I was writing back in 2018 and what many of us were seeing since the beginning of the Trump administration is continuing today. And in this piece here, who is behind the ongoing alt-indie media purge, is a video where I basically look at some of the similar things in this article here. And what I found was that, this deletion of many of the biggest Facebook pages at the time, the Anti-Media, Collective Evolution, lots of people, Free Thought Project, we're reaching millions and millions of people a week, hundreds of millions of people a week in many cases, were all deleted. Then, of course, we were labeled Russian bots, the Mint Press News, the Anti-Media, Corbett Report, Activist Post, lots of websites being labeled associated with Russian bots. And this comes only 4 months after, in May 2018, that Facebook announced that they had a new partnership with the group known as the Atlantic Council, which is the same think tank which has been tied to other shady organizations. And the Atlantic Council is basically the Western military industrial complex. They are part of the Atlantic Council, sort of part of the NATO organization apparatus of groups. They've spent decades promoting causes and issues which are beneficial to NATO member states. In addition, the Atlantic Council is a member of the Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is an umbrella organization which quote, acts as a network facilitator in the Euro-Atlantic and beyond. And its members include political leaders, academics, military officials, journalists, diplomats, all who promote values that are favorable to NATO member states. And, I go further and deep into this whole thing. Like I said, I've covered this before. I've been talking about this for a couple of years and telling people to use these alternative social media networks because so many of the independent media has been dependent. I've never taken Google funding, Google advertising money. And I know when people who do that, they're dependent on that. And when that source is cut from them, yeah, that sucks. It hurts because, well, you're dependent on it. That's one of the reasons I never did it, but also because I didn't want Google money. But at the same time, much of the independent media websites I've written for over the years have been dependent for Google ads. And so I was still technically getting paid by websites who are running ads via Google. And now in recent years and months, especially with COVID, we're seeing that attacked, where now just this month, they announced that beginning this month, Google will no longer be serving ads on websites which promote COVID-19 conspiracy theories. So that's another way to sort of social engineer and encourage websites, which, and I'll tell you guys this, I know many of the people in the independent media and those who are still running active websites, people are already starting to change their practices and change the things that they're reporting on because they're afraid to be deleted off Facebook. They're afraid to get fact checked. They're afraid to lose their funding. And that is exactly what these people want to do. They're either going to purge you and delete you off if you won't shut up, or they're going to try to encourage you to just post memes and fluffy things and not challenge the narratives anymore. And that's the whole purpose of the independent media. The 2010s, from the last decade and even a little bit earlier, from the beginning of the true independent internet and the beginning of social media, we were kicking their ass and spreading so much information. And that's why they've still locked down. But they knew this was going to happen. It's not like, oh my God, the people are waking up. The CIA and the NSA and the intelligence community gave us the internet. They gave us GPS. They gave us cell phones. They gave us social media. They gave us Facebook. Do you really think that they didn't predict these tools would grow to the point they are? I think maybe some of it is out of their hands, but I also think for the most part, they probably knew this was going to happen. And they knew that once people got dependent on these systems, they could just clamp down and essentially erase you from the digital world if that's what it really comes down to. And that's where we are at now. So please, I will link to, once I hang up and I'll add in the description, the links to these past articles and videos I've done. I'll also add a link to this. This is why you can't trust the fact checkers, because I think that really lays out a clear and concise case for what I'm saying here and what I'm talking about. So please stay tuned for that. And if you know anybody on Facebook, tell them to follow the page over there and tell them to ignore the propaganda, ignore the fact checks and the false information. But that's where we're at now. We're going to continue to be fact checked into irrelevance, into non-existence, or some of your favorite content creators might actually choose to comply and start self-censoring themselves and start holding back their work because they're afraid of what's going to happen. And I refuse to hold back my work. I refuse not to talk about human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking, the fact that pedophiles and people who cover up for pedophiles are involved in government and intelligence agencies, to talk about the dangers of EMFs, to talk about all the different things you've heard me talk about over the years and the things that we're going to be covering on our upcoming documentary, The Pyramid of Power, which thanks to you guys was totally and completely funded. So that's going to be coming out soon. And the thing is, that information, the people who run Facebook and run YouTube and are trying to manipulate the internet, they do not want that information to go viral and to go out to the public. So they either attack the heck out of it using their control, Mockingbird Media, or they just delete it off all the platforms. Like you guys saw with a recent documentary that came out, that if I even say it out loud, maybe it'll get this video flagged. The recent video, Indoctrination, which came out and was immediately, the links were flagged and you couldn't share it on the mainstream social media platforms. But guess what? It's existing on Float and on Minds and on BitChute and on Library and on all these other new platforms that are popping up. It still exists. The information is still out there online, but you're not going to find it on the mainstream platforms. And yes, for those who are just tuning in, I say it in the beginning of every video, I am on Hive, BitChute, Library, etc. And you can find all those links at theconsciousresistance.com. And I'm happy to support them, as I have for the last 5 years, really. I've been telling people to join these alternative networks. But at the end of the day, if we're just preaching to the choir, then at least for my purposes, it's sort of defeating the whole reason I'm doing my work. I do not want to just talk to you guys. I was thinking about this a lot recently. This is gonna be the last point I make, and then I got to shut up and go do an interview. That when it really comes down to it, I really don't care about reaching most of you out there who are watching this. I'm glad that you have come to the same conclusions, or at least similar conclusions as I have, and you're already on board. Now, your role, I would say, in our collaborative role, is to promote my work. If you like the ideas, if you like the message, if you like the news, share them with as many people as possible. Text it to your friends, email it to friends. Clearly, we can't post on social media like we used to, but do that for what you can. I appreciate you, but my goal is no longer to reach you. You already know what's going on. So your role, I think, in this is to create content of your own, get yourself and your family ready, and to share important information. I'm also not trying to reach those of you who are totally indoctrinated to the system. If you are an ideologue and you're totally indoctrinated, you're a statist who believes in everything that the government's doing and that it's all just, then you're not really my target audience. If you're a hardcore right-winger and you're already bought into that dogma and you think Trump is the savior or whatever, you're not really my audience either. And if you are a hardcore leftist who thinks that Biden or any of the leftist sort of mentality is going to save the day, again, you are not my audience. I am not trying to speak to ideologues and spend my day arguing with them. If something cracks through and reaches you, then great. But the people that I'm really trying to reach are the undecided, the people who have not made up their minds yet, the people who are not completely dogmatic and either don't already see, what's going on, or haven't completely bought in hook, line, and sinker to the mainstream view. Maybe they're sort of a normie, but they don't really know. Like, oh, well, I don't know. My friends who are a little bit on the conspiracy edge are making some sense, and they're starting to get to me. But my other friends over here are telling me to feel this way. That person is kind of being pulled and swayed back and forth. They don't have their minds made up, and they're still looking for answers. Those are the people I'm trying to reach. I'm into this because I'm trying to plant as many seeds in the matrix and to actively reach the people who are still deciding which way they want to go. If you already know what's going on, then it's up to you now to share this information and to get active in your communities and to educate other people and to opt out and to unplug and prepare for what's coming. For those who don't see what's coming and are totally indoctrinated, there's probably nothing I can do for you. Hopefully something I say or something somebody says will, that seed will fruit and turn into something amazing, and you'll realize that, you need to make some changes. But I'm really focused on reaching people who are undecided. So by leaving Facebook or being deleted off Facebook, which I chose to do a couple of years ago and only recently have come back, I realize, though, it is defeating my purpose. If I just talk to my YouTube audience, if I just talk to my Facebook audience that already knows what's going on, then I'm not going to be able to reach more people. My goal is always to reach as many people as possible. And so Facebook is where all the normies hang out. And that's just the truth of the matter. So I'm not going to censor myself ever. But at the same time, that probably will inevitably lead me to being deleted. So sorry for that long-winded rant. My point is, if you care about my work, get it out there, share it to people. Send out a text message, guys. You have no idea how valuable sending out a text message to your friends and family and saying something genuine like, hey, I saw this today. It really, it appealed to me. It hit me in the heart. It means something to me. Can you please just make time to watch this 10-minute video, this 1-hour documentary? Hey, I'll even come over. Let's sit down and watch it together and talk about it. Make those efforts. Don't simply just spam, your Facebook wall or your whatever Twitter feed and just cry, why is nobody listening to me? Make an effort to look somebody in the eye and tell them that you care about the future of their life and you want them to hear the things that are important to you. Send a text message, send an email, send a freaking letter. Just make an effort, guys. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. There might be another video this evening. We'll be doing Freethinker Radio later tonight. Until then, remember, you're powerful, you're beautiful, and you're free. Peace.